What's good? So, if you check my socials, you know I got the Z Fold8 finally in, and I pretty much got everything set up. I didn't do a formal unboxing because you probably seen every unboxing in the world. Mine would have added too much to the conversation. So I'm just going to save you guys the trouble. I usually have me some notes with me also, but I don't have the notes. I'm going off the top of my head, getting this information out. But my initial thoughts after the first little over 24 hours of this phone is that this phone is a change if you have been a avid Ultra user. Let's just say Fold Ultra to differentiate between the Z Fold8 and its bigger brother, the Fold8, which is being called the Ultra. Now, if you're a person who consistently uses the larger form factor, you may have problems with this phone. I'm going through an adjustment period right now with this phone, but I'm kind of leaning towards liking it. Me being a YouTuber, and I don't mind being what you may call a beta tester when it comes to new devices. This form factor, though, does remind me of some older phones that were out back in the day, which has pretty similar form factors. So I'm old school from a generational standpoint. This form factor doesn't quite bother me because I've have used phones that span the size spectrum for over a decade. So sometimes it depends. I think this phone, if, for example, if you never owned a foldable, you may be open to this. If you own phones that are smaller, you may be open to this. I think a lot of people who are fans of the flip may be more open to this type of form factor. But if you've always used larger phones, like a 26 Ultra like I have here, and an iPhone Pro Max, or any phone that has a size spectrum of those type of phones, then trying to come to this type of form factor might be a little bit of a difficult problem for some people out there. Also, the cost. You know, I did get a nice trade-in on this particular phone. But to be honest with you, I really think the starting price of a phone like this, especially, you know, you don't have the third camera, you don't have all the features of the other phone, of the larger phone. I really think this phone, a sweet spot would have been on the high end, maybe $18.99 if you wanted a 1 terabyte, and a beginning price, I would say maybe $200 over the 26 Ultra starting price. You know, so I think that in turns would have been a better starting point for the 256 gig. The 512, you could have had it come in around maybe $15.99, $16.99, and the high end at the starting price of this phone. As far as the Fold itself, when it comes to how it snaps open and the actual fold, they've done an excellent job from my point of view of how I'm looking at this phone. Now, over time, the continuous folding, will something develop later on in the ownership of this phone? That can only be talked about when that time happens. But for the most part, they have done an excellent job of making that little fold not be as noticeable as it has been in the past. Standard problems still exist. Still got the camera hump. That's not going to change until maybe somehow Samsung decides to change the camera orientation, turning it pretty much vertical. Other than that, you're going to get severe, especially with the smaller form factor, you're just going to get way more of a camera bump. So you're going to have to find a case that kind of neutralizes that, but there's not too many cases out as of now that can neutralize that wobble on the table. Another thing, the speakers itself is kind of, I don't want to say tinny. The speakers sound pretty decent, but at the same time also it's depends on which way you're holding the speaker, that can you may end up blocking it. They have the speakers mostly on the left side. Well, they are on the left side. And again, if you was to hold it like this, you can block one of the speakers like I am on the left side. You most definitely would have to hold it with with your hands like near the camera on either side like this, so you can hear both speakers play. Or unless you got earbuds on, that's a whole nother story. But again, the camera hump and the speakers are middle of the road. Also, though, it doesn't have like the flex fold mode where you can put it into a clamshell and it stays in this form. You know, it's not going to work out. But you can look at content in what they call tent mode. So you can pretty much lay it as a tent, fold it like this, lay it down, and look at content from that standpoint. Now, the viewing angle from that, you know, depends on how much, you know, you may disagree with that. But to me, it's not a problem. But some people may find it a problem, having that viewing angle, and you lose the other part of the display as a keyboard or as a remote. But as far as content wise, looking at YouTube videos, looking at movies, I think is better than the larger Fold. I had the Fold 7 before, and I just like the way content looks on this particular phone. It does lack the vapor chamber for cooling. So if you're a gamer, you may have some issues with this phone because it can heat up pretty quickly playing games. So depends on if you're a gamer, you may decide to opt for the larger Fold 8 or the cheaper Fold 7. So, but I'm just giving you my first initial impressions of this phone. I'm going to have something more in depth coming. I just want to let you know that I do have the phone. I unboxed it. I haven't really done any camera samples, but again, off the top, I really like this phone. I'm really enjoying it so far. Again, this is not a phone that everybody I can recommend this phone to, but it all depends. If you have an open mind towards different form factors, then you will enjoy this phone much better. But again, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and other than that, I'll catch everybody in the next video. I'm out.